My mom and sister called the cops on my 5-year-old daughter. I came back from a work trip a day early and found her sobbing in front of 2 officers. She was terrified, thinking the strange men were going to take her away. I didn't scream, I acted. A week later, they were the ones screaming. I came home a day early not because I missed my kid or had some motherly sixth sense, just a canceled client meeting in Austin and a sudden free evening. I figured, why not take the night train, surprise Charlotte in the morning, maybe grab donuts on the way, and okay, maybe my stomach felt off, but that's basically my default setting when my mom's involved. The key turned quieter than usual, probably because I turned it slow, like I was bracing myself for something. I just didn't expect that something. 2 cops were standing in the living room, one scribbling in a notepad. The other, young and polite-faced, crouched down, talking to my kid. My 5-year-old daughter, Charlotte, was curled up on the edge of the couch, arms pinned to her sides, staring at the floor like she was waiting for a sentence. My mother, Phyllis, was looming nearby with her arms crossed like a judge who already had the verdict. My sister Kendra was holding her daughter Nora, who was sniffly and fake sobbing into her mom's shoulder. For a second, I thought maybe the cops were at the wrong house, like maybe they'd popped in to ask for directions. But then one officer looked up at me. "Good morning. You must be Mrs. Cross, Mallory, Charlotte's mother." I nodded. "Yes, what's going on here?" He shifted slightly, positioning himself between me and Charlotte. Not aggressively, just protectively. His tone softened. "Everything's all right, we were just responding to a call. There was a report of a dispute between children, one pushed the other. There was crying. We were told you were out of town, so we've been speaking with your mother and sister." I looked straight, but my mother. "You called the police on a Kendra jumped in like I had just accused her. She hit Nora. She fell and was crying really hard. Right? Nora currently working her way through a cracker and sneakily watching Charlotte like she'd won." Charlotte still hadn't looked up. Her little body was shaking. I walked over, sat beside her, and pulled her into a hug. "She didn't hit," my mom corrected coldly. "She pushed. We tried talking to her, but she got mouthy. We thought maybe a quick chat with the police would help her understand this behavior isn't okay." The other officer finally spoke, raising an eyebrow. "For a 5-year-old, ma'am. We don't typically conduct behavioral chats with kids who aren't even in kindergarten yet. We came because we were required to respond. But honestly, this kind of call isn't what emergency services are for." That's when Charlotte finally looked at me and started crying. Quiet, broken crying, not loud or dramatic. Just like something inside her gave up. I hugged her tighter. She wrapped her arms around my neck and held on like I was the only solid thing left. I rubbed her back and looked up at the officer. "So, there's nothing here that warrants further action," he said gently. "We've documented statements from everyone. No signs of harm. The child is shaken but calm now. We'd recommend handling situations like this privately, in the future especially." He turned to my mother, without calling in law enforcement unnecessarily. "You're not opening a case?" Kendra asked, already defensive. "No, ma'am," he said firmly, "and let me be clear, if this kind of report happens again, it could be considered misuse of emergency services. We have real emergencies. Don't waste our time." Then he looked at Charlotte and surprisingly smiled. "You're okay, Charlotte. No one's taking you anywhere. You can go back to playing now, all right. Just remember, sometimes other kids want to play with the same toy, and that's okay. But pushing isn't how we solve it. It doesn't make you bad. You don't have to give up your toy if you don't want to. You just talk about it, okay?" She nodded into my shoulder. He smiled at me, then walked out with his partner. The door clicked shut, and silence settled in. Well, except for Nora whining that she wanted to go to the park. Kendra was whispering something to her. Mom looked like she expected me to apologize. "You've lost your damn minds," I said. "Calling the police on a 5-year-old over a toy." "Not over a toy," Phyllis snapped. "Over aggression. You spoil her. She thinks she can do anything she wants. Kids like that become problems in school, and grandmothers like you become stories therapists here for years." I shot back. "What kind of adult terrifies a child with cops?" "I didn't terrify her," my mom replied, arms folding tighter. "I just said if she didn't stop, there'd be consequences. That's not a threat, it's the truth. You told her the police were going to take her away. You know she's scared of strangers." Phyllis shrugged. "Maybe now she'll think twice." I held Charlotte even closer. "Yeah, well, now you can think twice. You're never being alone with her again. Not you, not Kendra. That's done, Mallory. Come on. We were just trying. Help. You don't even realize what you did. She wasn't fighting over a toy. She was protecting herself, her boundaries, and you showed her that standing up for herself gets her treated like a criminal. Phyllis opened her mouth, but I raised my hand. No, that's it. We're done here. I didn't wait for an argument. I stood up, took Charlotte's hand, and walked out the front door. I didn't even pack our overnight bag from the guest room. The air outside felt cleaner, sharper, like walking out of a smoky bar. In the car, Charlotte was quiet for a while, clutching her stuffed rabbit. Then she whispered, "They wanted to take me away, Mommy. Did I do something bad?" My chest tightened. No, baby, you didn't do anything bad. You were playing, and they misunderstood. That's all, and no one will ever take you away from me, ever. She nodded slowly, but she didn't look convinced. That night, after I put her to bed, I sat in the kitchen with my laptop. I wasn't going to let this slide. This wasn't just bad judgment. It was a calculated, manipulative way to scare a child into submission. My mom had always been controlling, but this crossed into dangerous. The next morning, I called my lawyer. I want a no-contact order, I said, for my daughter, against my mother and sister. He was quiet for a second. That's serious. Do you have documentation? I have police body cam footage, officer statements, and a terrified child. Is that enough? He exhaled. It's enough to get started. Within days, the paperwork was filed. My lawyer attached the police report, a copy of the officer's official warning about misuse of emergency services, and a statement from me detailing the emotional distress caused to Charlotte. 2 weeks later, we were in court. My mother wore her best pearls. Kendra wore smugness like perfume, and I wore the calm confidence of someone who had evidence. The judge listened, looked through the documentation, and then turned to my mother. Mrs. Wallace, calling the police on a 5-year-old over a playground-type dispute is not only inappropriate, it borders on malicious. This court will not tolerate such conduct toward a minor. Phyllis stammered. I was trying to teach her. You do not teach a child by making her believe she will be taken away by law enforcement. The judge interrupted. You have demonstrated poor judgment and an alarming disregard for the emotional well-being of your granddaughter. This order will remain in place for 1 year, with the possibility of renewal. Kendra muttered something under her breath, and the judge shot her a look that made her shut up instantly. When the order was granted, I felt something I hadn't felt around my family in years. Safety? That was 3 months ago. Since then, my phone has been blowing up with relatives demanding I reconsider, saying I'm breaking the family apart. They can think what they want. Charlotte is thriving. She's sleeping better. She laughs without glancing over her shoulder. And the other day she told me, Mommy, I know you'll keep me safe, even from Grandma. Yes, I will. If that means my mother and sister have to learn the hard way that their control ends where my child's safety begins, so be it, because in this family, the cycle of fear stops with me.